Welcome to this demo of running the theskyx on two different computers and synchronizing the exposures between them. We're going to start on the remote computer, the slave computer we'll call it. A couple of housekeeping things. First of all, you need to have the Windows Daily Build installer installed so that you have a version of the Sky higher than build 6500. You also need to start the theskyx Professional as administrator at least once to make sure the correct components are registered. We are configuring the theskyx to run with the ASCOM simulator camera. If we press connect, we're set up for a 10-second exposure, no exposure delay. We take a photo. This lasts for 10 seconds. And we get a picture. The other thing we need to turn on the remote computer is the Sky TCP server. We press that, it opens a small window here. We tick listening for connections. You may need to adjust your firewall software to allow this to work properly. This means that this copy of the Sky can receive requests from other computers to do things such as start an exposure. I'm going to minimize this remote desktop session with the remote computer now. Here is our software. We are going to connect to the Sky. This is the master software. This is the master computer. It is also connected to the ASCOM simulator camera with 10.1 second exposures with an exposure delay of 5 seconds. So if I take a photo, we get a pre-exposure delay of 5 seconds, and then it exposes a 10-second exposure. Back in our software, we need to tell it the name of the computer where the remote copy of the theskyx is running. This is called OBS2, and when I click here, it checks that it can connect to OBS2. So if I said it was OBS3 and try to tick the box, it would give me an error saying that the host is not known. So it needs to be OBS2. Tick the box. So back to the remote computer, I'm going to adjust the screen so that on the left hand side we have a remote desktop window looking at the remote computer running the theskyx version at least build 6500. It is running the TCP server, it is listening for connections. On the right hand side we have the theskyx running on the master computer, which would normally be doing the guiding and dithering as well. This is set up with 10.1 second exposures and a 5 second exposure delay. Therefore, if I take a photo here, after the delay, an exposure will start on both computers. So we can now see a 10-second exposure running on both computers. If I wish to take a series, I can set this up to take a series of 3 exposures on the master of 11-second exposure time. Press take series, we get the first exposure delay, and then the first exposure starts on both computers. The exposure delay is generally put in because your slave computer, for whatever reason, different camera, might take longer to download. Therefore we need to allow for that in the exposure delay. And here the second exposure starts on both computers. And finally the last exposure starts on both computers. And that's the end of the demo. Thank you very much.